Hi guys, so today we're going to learn about grouping operations. Now let me give you a brief introduction of what grouping operations are. So in general, any data set has a lot of features, right? But if we only want the relation between some of the features, or we want to make groups in the data set such that it correspond to values in one of the features, then we can use methods like group by method and pivot table. Now let's take for example this data set with these many features. Now, if I want to represent it like this, such that user is 123, the cities are here, and the visit days are as values in the dataset. So for this, I can use a pivot table. Now let's get started with the implementation of it. So I've already taken the dataset. Let me print the dataset for you guys. So df.head, and there we go. All right. So you want to make groups based on the gender. You want to divide the dataset into two groups, one being male and one being female. Then we can do this. Then we can take a variable gender group on which I'm going to save it. So it would be df dot group by function and the feature I want to make groups of. So that would be sex. All right. So that's done. Now let's see the first elements of gender group, first instances of all the groups. Dot first. So as you can see, these are the first instances of both the groups. Now if you want to see the whole group, like the whole female group or whole male group, I can use get group. So that's gender group dot get group, and let's say female. Okay, so there you go. So now we have the whole group. Now if you want to group based on two features, like suppose health and gender, then I can also do that. So let's see how. So it's gender health group is equal to, again, df dot group by. Now I'll give both the columns as arguments. So it would be health and sex. Okay, so there we go. Let's see the first instances of this also. So it would be health group dot first. Now as you can see, this has divided the data set in such way, like health 1 female, this is the group, health 1 male, this is the group, right? Now if you want to get the group of people being male and having health 2, then we can again use get group. So it's gender health group dot get group. So that would be male and 2. So let's just type that 2 and male. So there we go. And as you can see, this is the group of all people being male having health of 2. Right? So this is the group by function. Now let's check out the pivot table. So let's write pivot table here. This is the general syntax of a pivot table. Let's check out the pivot table by creating a pivot table with index health and sex. So what we'll do is we'll first take the data set again, right? So it's df, right? So df dot pivot table with index as health and sex. So now a pivot table will be created. Now as you can see, it's on the same lines of group by method, but the only difference is it gives out only one value, right? This is basically averaging out to give the values in the table. So that's the pivot table. Okay, all right. Now in this pivot table, the main advantage is you can add one feature as the values to make it group by, right? So like you can add a values argument and we can give the values of a feature. Now let's see how. So there's a column paid, values 0 and 1, like whether the person is paid or they are not paid. So what we can do is we can find the number of people who've been paid corresponding to some group, and like it's a 0 and 1, So we just have to add. So we'll use the add function as np.sum. Okay, let's see how it works. df dot pivot table, again with index as health and sex. Now with values as, keep the values of the feature paid. Okay, so there we go. It's paid. And finally, add function should be np.sum. So there we go. And now see, we have a pivot table of this group, and this are the total number of paid people. So females with health 1, how many females of health 1 are paid? So that's 18. Similarly, how many males of health 1 are paid? That's 11. So this is a very convenient way to understand the relation between. To make it more convenient, we can also give sex as a column instead of the index. So let's see how. We'll use the columns argument now. So it's df.pivot let index be equals to health, and the columns argument. So as you can see, the columns argument here is columns is equal to sex, and finally values is paid. Now let's see how this works. Okay, so as you can see, now we've got the female, male and health. We have not given the add function, that's why it's coming average. So let's give the add function also. Add function is np.sum. Alright, so now as you can see, so we have a columns of female and male, whether the person is female and male, the health as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these the values are whether the person, how many people are paid or they are not paid. So that was the required explanation, and I hope you guys found it useful. Thank you.